So we traveled 2 hours to get to this beautiful tropical paradise called Hidden Valley. And there are some of the hot springs that we are going to be spending the day in together. I'm so excited. This is going to be a great day of relaxation and fun.
It's going to be fun.
Good morning, fellow adventurers. Today is day 105. We just arrived in Manila in the Philippines. And I must say, after being in China and Japan, where it was very cold, we have finally hit the hot weather again. And today it is 96 degrees and the humidity is up there as well. We were also told that we would not be going to Boracay Island in the Philippines because they have been putting so much sewage and trash and things in the ocean that the island is being closed down for the next 6 months for cleanup. As a result, we're going to spend another night in Manila. Manila is a large city with 12 million residents. And it is a city that is a 24-hour city, a place that you can eat, drink, and shop 24 hours a day. It is a city with a lot of different extremes. In some areas, there is very affluent people, but a lot of the people live in rundown, shabby areas of the city. In fact, in the Philippines, there is a no nanny state and no financial safety net for individuals. So what you do is you find an awful lot of Filipinos going to many places in the world where they can find work. And they send back the money they make to the Philippines to their family. In many cases, you will find there will be young gals and guys that are married and they are out making money and sending it back to their families that are taking care of their children. The stewardess here on our ship has a son who lives in the Philippines, and while we were here, she was able to see her son for 3 hours. Her mother and sister that take care of the son actually drove 3 hours to get here. They spent 3 hours, and then they drove back home for 3 hours. We also saw many of the Filipino people working in Hong Kong, China, and other countries that hire domestic as well as other laborers. On our tour for today, our first stop was to La Piña's Church, and we had the opportunity to behold the world's only bamboo organ, which was built in 1824, and it has become a national cultural treasure. It was built by Friar Diego Serra, with 1,031 pipes, 902 which are made out of bamboo, and the remaining pipes were made out of metal. It took Father Serra 8 years to finish the organ. Here we are in Manila, listening to the bamboo organ, one of the few made in the whole world. On the way to Tagaytay Ridge, which is our final destination for today, we stopped and saw a fruit market and a flower market. And as we went to the back of the flower market, there was a transfer station for jeepneys. A jeepney is a uniquely Manilan form of transportation. These bus-like vehicles were originally made from U.S. military jeeps after World War II. But today, jeepneys are air-conditioned, typically painted in flamboyant colors, and there are tons of them on all the streets in Manila and farther afield. We sat in a couple of them and just looked at all of the different colors and designs on these vehicles, as well as there was tuk-tuks and motorcycles with sidecars at this transfer station as well. I want to comment because the traffic in Manila is unbelievable. There is really, other than these jeepneys, no public transportation, no buses, no trains, and it is busy and bustling. And to get even 30 miles sometimes can take you an hour and a half. Or if you're downtown in the city driving around, to go 4 or 5 miles could take 45 minutes to an hour. And this is a problem that is not going away because it doesn't look as if there are any plans from the government to change the situation. As we kept traveling up country to go to Tagaytay Ridge and see the volcano, we had lunch at a hotel, Tal Vista Hotel. This hotel is on the top of the ridge, and when we got there, I went to the restroom, so I was separated from our group. And when I got back, there was this huge body of water with all kinds of volcanoes in it. Little did I know, it was a lake that they had talked about while I was not with them. This was a huge lake with rice paddies and other agriculture being developed, as well as fish farming in the lake as well. There were several volcanoes on this lake, and most of these volcanoes in the Manila area are still active today. Another great reason to go to Tagaytay Ridge is that it's about 2,000 feet above sea level, which made this much cooler than being in Manila for the day. After having lunch at the hotel, we returned to downtown Manila, where we had gone to Rizal Park. And it is the setting of a dedicated national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal, who was executed in 1898 for his anti-colonial writings. Jose Rizal saw so much promise in his education that his family got together and sent him to Catholic school as a young boy, where he witnessed 3 Catholic priests being killed by the colonialists. And he did go to Europe to college and wrote several books. And this started the revolution towards the independence for the Filipinos. The colonists thought that they were chopping off the head of the snake, but what they really did is made a martyr out of him and started a movement for the Filipinos to have their own independence, which they would have had a lot sooner, but World War II got in the way. It was said before the war that Manila was considered the Venice of the East, and it was a beautiful city that had been pretty much destroyed by the Japanese in the Second World War due to all the bombings. In fact, the Manila Hotel was General Douglas MacArthur's command post during the Second World War. We had the opportunity to travel through the old town and see the old fort, and there was a lot of reclaimed land all the way to where the current ocean is from the fort. We had a chance to do some shopping before we returned to the ship for the night. Having a blast here in the jungle, walking on this bamboo walkway, going to the next pool that we're going to hang out for a few more minutes after we get there. And where we're headed to right now is Lover's Pool. Day 2 in Manila, we decided to do something special. We'd been traveling a while, and I was looking on the internet for something to do, so I found a guide that took us to Hidden Valley Springs. Now, some of them were hot springs, but most of them were just springs coming out of the water from the volcano, and I couldn't think of a better day to relax in the rainforest amongst these beautiful waters and pools, being in nature and enjoying being with my family. There were several pools throughout the area that were beautifully landscaped in the natural environment of the rainforest. It reminded me a bit of being in Hana on the island of Maui and seeing so many tropical plants, trees, leaves, etc. that I was very familiar with. It took us about 2.5 hours to get back to the ship where we set sail later that day. Our next stop will be Kota Kinabalu, Borneo, Malaysia. See you there. In closing, my wish for you is that you will love abundantly, protect your health, and be adventurous for life. You are beautiful. Let your light shine. Aloha.